What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee. And Mano
That's right, I'm here.
is in the building. Nick Cannon is here.
Yeah.
And Klondike Blonde is here too.
Yes, ma'am.
The future superstar.
Yes. Listen, so you're on the third episode? Fourth episode.
Yes.
Okay, I saw Simba. I saw Big Boss Vet.
Yeah.
And then I did get a chance to see your episode
You
too.
did?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I felt like I was just wanting to give you a hug as soon as you walked in.
Right?
You know, for up and coming artists to hear their stories, it is something that really, I think, will also help you connect to the music better.
Yeah.
Right.
Real talk.
How did you pick Klondike Blonde to be featured?
The crazy thing about, and one of the reasons why I even created Future Superstars on VH1 is because you don't get to hear these artists and get to know them. She had a song that was popping, like going crazy. She had her Drip record that was like crazy on TikTok. My kids knew it, and you know, to be honest, I was like, it was one of them songs. Like, man, yo, turn that song off. Like, I'm back on my Drip, and I'm like, I had no connection to it. And she had like celebrities doing the dances and singing the songs. And then when I found out the artist that made it and all that she had been through, and you know, the levels of trauma she had experienced, and how her music helps her deal with anxiety and stuff, I was like, oh, we need to tell these stories. That's how you find superstars, because they having fun music and all that, but you don't know what these people are going through.
Right.
So the fact that, you know, this is a perfect platform for someone like a Klondike Blonde, because you hear the song, you see the millions and millions of streams and all of that, but you don't know that there's a person working their ass off, you know, actually trying to provide for their families. And now we get to shine the light on it, because when you think VH1, you think of like behind the music. And that's usually a retrospective approach from the artist once they've become
They've made it,
superstars and made it, and then they tell their story. Now this is like the origin story. This is like before the music, and you get to see it as they're building. And, you know, so hopefully this is a new generation of, you know, what we're building over there at VH1.
That's dope. And stories is very important, because the stories is actually what connect the artist with the people.
Yeah.
Because when the people see themselves in the artist, you know, they fall in love with them.
Yeah, and I think that's even with you. I mean, when
indeed.
people know, you know, all that you've been through,
Right.
and, you know, everything, like you tell your story in your music, but
Right.
it's like, yo, Mano done been through some shit.
And
so
he's a
therefore,
work in progress. Let me tell you, Nick.
You gotta stop.
Every day.
we all a work in progress, Angela.
No, but and I do want to say, just hearing your story, certain things I related to, because you're Black and Venezuelan,
Yes.
right? And you didn't grow up with your mom necessarily. Mine was like the opposite, because my dad is Chinese, my mom is Black, and I know we talked about this, Nick, on
On
one
the
of your
podcast.
many other shows.
Yeah.
But you know, my grandparents had an issue with my dad marrying a Black woman, you know, too. So there were a lot of things that we had to deal with growing up, and I know that's
Ain't that
not
crazy?
easy.
Like,
And your own grandparents don't necessarily accept you like that. That got to be something to where it's like just based off of the color of your
Word, to
skin.
grow up in that.
You know what I mean? The people that are supposed to be like your favorites, and the people
Right.
are like, it's like, so even starting from the very beginning, I mean, her trauma has been heavy.
But the good thing is your dad really did step up.
he did. He did his thing, because he was young, too. Didn't really know what he was doing, but he tried, you know? So,
You know what? And speaking of family, Nick, you know what? With your
Speaking of dads.
No, I was gonna talk about your brothers. I was gonna talk about your brothers, not the kids. I'm sorry, that didn't come out right.
Anytime Nick hear family, he go.
Oh man, another one.
yeah, he
Well,
start
I'm not
sweating.
gonna lie. Every time I sit down with Nick, there's another announcement.
Yeah.
Right? Today I wanted to talk about your brothers, because you're the oldest.
Yeah.
And you have four
Younger brothers.
younger brothers who also are they all in the entertainment industry in some way?
Somewhat in the aspect of either they work in production, or, you know, they do music, or, you know, at some aspect, but it's kind of always been in our family.
Right. Do you feel like, because I know one of your brothers worked on Wildin' Out. And,
Yeah.
You know, so
And
how much...
Gabriel won the show.
That's what made me really see that step up, the Claim to Fame show. Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it's dope. I mean, the fact that, especially that show, because that show is all about, you know, your sibling and trying to figure out who your famous sibling is. And, I mean, you get to see my brother's charisma and kind of like, you know, we kind of cut from a similar cloth. But interestingly enough, that Gabriel, along with, you know, my other younger brother, I created it when I was an executive at Def Jam. I signed them to Def Jam, and they were in a R&B rap group called Riders and Artists that kind of had like this Jodeci vibe, and they had like a cool little record that was buzzing and moving, and you know I put them on tour with Mariah. They went all over the world opening for her, and then but you see how sometimes the nepotism, you know what I mean, can actually hurt.
It can
artist.
backfire.
Yeah, because like they were Nick Cannon's
Cannon's
brothers opposed to like, yo, these artists are just dope. So and they were, you know what I mean, and still are. But it's like sometimes, and I would say like, yo, maybe don't lead with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like lead with just being dope and then let people find out that, you know, that we're related, or especially because in the space it's like, oh, you just got your record deal because of this, or you just on tour. So, you know, you want them to have to work past that. And I think now watching them kind of shine and do things on their own is pretty dope.
And so, Klondike, for you, where were you when you got the call that Nick Cannon wanted to sit down? Because as we see in the beginning of each show, they talk about there's so many people that are like, Nick Cannon let me use the studio. Nick Cannon did this for me. I know you did a lot with Danny Lay in the beginning of her career also.
Yeah.
There's stories people don't even know.
Yeah. A lot. Danny Lay was somebody like that we worked with musically, and like she was one of my dancers, and like a lot of the stuff that I was doing.
She was
like
a dancer?
Yeah. First of all,
she's a choreographer.
She's a choreographer.
For Prince.
Yeah, for
Okay,
Prince
right,
at
okay.
like 18. Like that's how I was even introduced to her. At like 18, she was.
So you had a dance on a Wild 'N Out.
No, this was before Wild.
before?
Well, not before Wild 'N Out, but this was she was young. So we was doing stuff with like Nickelodeon. We had created this little thing. I think it was called Curly Fries, and it was like her and a couple of other girls were like, and we were like literally gonna like remake Cinderella, but like the hip hop version. And if you look like a lot of the music videos and stuff, she's in those videos as a choreographer and as a dancer, so she's always been like super talented. And I remember when we were trying to figure out what the sound was gonna be, and like I said, she was working with Prince, you know, so she was already in there, and then like she actually became, you know, when she started doing her music, it was like, okay, I was probably trying to take her more into like kiddie, you know, commercial Nickelodeon approach, and she was like, nah, I'm grown, and now we know her as the artist that she is.
And Aida Osman, I just sat down with her on Lip Service, and she's on rap shit.
Yeah.
On Max, and she started on Wild
On
'N Out
Wild 'N Out.
also.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Now she's like
people
a star.
started on Wild 'N Out.
Yeah, Matt Rife, Pete Davidson, like we had white folks on there too. Like it's like, but it's man, it's a great platform, specifically for like comedians and you know, actors. But that's why I created Future Superstar, because I wanted people to see me as a music executive and that journey in my bag toward helping out young artists like Klondike.
All right, so where were you when you got that call, or how did this all even happen for you?
So what's crazy is I was actually like in a point in my career where I was really like trying to figure out what my next move was, what I was gonna do next. And my dog Frisco Chuck, like he brought me out to LA, and at this time I didn't really know his connection with Nick. Like I really didn't know the involvement at all. And he brought me to the studio.
Who actually runs incredible music.
Yeah. I didn't even know.
I had no idea. You know, I'm a little slow. But I want to say, like, within weeks of meeting Nick and even Chuck, like, they were talking about the tour, the TV show and stuff, and, like, it just all happened so fast. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy, like, seeing his musical ear. I think he immediately, like, just looked at me, heard the music, and, like, got the image that I was going for. So.
And then he put you to open up for Future.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So tell me about that.
It was crazy. It came
in the
out
Bay, because that's what she,
yeah,
you know,
in the Bay
area.
At the.
So you from the Bay?
I went to middle school and high school in the Bay, so from when I was 12 to 18.
So that's the crib.
Yeah, low key. But yeah, the Future news was insane. As you saw my reaction on the show, literally when they first told me, I was like, Future, like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I was like, yeah, we doing the Future Superstar tour.
Future?
Yeah.
Future. The rapper Future.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was surreal. I still remember the day performing. I want to say as soon as I got off stage, I almost passed out. Everybody was trying to, like, hug me and stuff. I just, like, I gave everything on that stage. So that was crazy.
Has it really set in yet? Because, I mean, this opportunity that you got as a new artist, everybody doesn't get. Right, to have somebody like a Nick Cannon come in and pull you in and give you these looks.
Yeah.
You know, some artists struggle, you know, every day to try to get half of that.
A whole episode dedicated to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do wake up every day these days, like, feeling really blessed and grateful, especially for this guy. Like, just to have, like, somebody that really understands your image and your music is crazy.
Yeah,
and like you said, just having the opportunity is insane. So, like, I try to take full advantage of it and, like, you know what I mean? Work my ass off.
How was it for you to be able to tell your story? Because there are a lot of things, and even parts where you said you don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, so for you being able to bare your soul like that, and even talk about depression and mental health issues, what was that like for you? Was it therapeutic? And how did you feel when you saw it?
It was therapeutic. I feel like it was a lot on me, like, being brave to tell the story, like, because I really had to do this, like, for me and not worry about, like, other people's feelings about it and stuff, things like that. And watching it back, honestly, I've probably watched the episode, like, 5 times now. The first time I watched it, I bawled my eyes out. It's crazy, but I think it's a story that needed to be heard because just like he said, like, my music was out, it was popping, but people would look at me and didn't really, like, who is she? Like, what's her morals? Like, who is she? So,
right, because you hear a song like Drip, it's not like it's a personal, you know, any.
And not to your point too, because it's like I was actually concerned about her after watching it and everything that she shared, because I was like, yo, she's going deep, like about her parents, and I was like, her grandparents, like what are once
brother,
like when you see that, like how are the people responding, because you're being so vulnerable and you got to go home, you got to talk to these people,
right.
And like, so I know even wanting to kind of be there for her, even in that, I was like, yo, you shared so much with the world, and knowing like that's what we do as celebrities, like people are constantly in our lives and we got to live our life on Front Street. And you got to be vulnerable. You got to share. And you ain't, like, I've done many interviews where I might have said something about my mama or my daddy or something. And you got to go home and they not happy with what you said.
Right.
So you don't think about that aspect.
Because you in the moment and you being honest.
Or you forgot about me. Or why you didn't say this. Or why you tell people I did this. And like,
you got to face that later on.
Yeah, because they got to go to work.
Yeah, now let me tell you, Nick, I can't even imagine. I'm sure every day is something.
Every
single day.
But at this point, like, I just live my life. Like, people know, like, oh, he gonna say some wild shit. Something gonna come out that, like, they, at this point, they know it's par for the course. But I remember being a young artist and wanting to share my story and being afraid to say certain things, or being afraid to share too much, or even in that moment, you may feel away on Monday and you feel completely different on Friday, but you said how you felt on Monday, and then now people are holding that, and you see that that same clip being repeated and repeated, and like, damn, I wish, there's so many things I done said in front of these microphones. I was like, shit, I wish.
Does it bother you when people say things about you then? That
never about me.
Experiences, like, what if they went on Love and Hip Hop?
Oh, here you go.
I feel like Nick,
let me. What if that happened? Would you be okay if so?
I think I know what you're speaking of. And no, honestly, if someone's speaking their truth and it's authentic, if you're really sharing your heart, I have no problem with you sharing yourself. Now, if you doing it for ratings or clickbait, or you trying to, then I'm like, all right, well, now you playing the media game and you're using something that should be real to be produced, and you're allowing these reality show producers to sway you one way and certain things. Like, and I was like, I'm not gonna fall for the bait. Like, I'm not gonna get there and be like, oh, and now I've been the topic of many reality shows that I've never signed approval on.
I watched Selling Sunset too.
And the whole episode be about me. And I'm like,
you're very interesting.
Yeah, like, so in that, I understand, like, and usually most people hold me down in a way, and I'm so grateful for when people do speak to the authentic person that I am. But then when, sometimes certain narratives will get out there, I'm like, well, if you telling the truth, I'm all for it. But if you out there just fabricating storylines, then
sometimes people's truth is different than what you think the truth is too.
100%.
Because somebody might express something to you, I'm okay with this, and then they're really not.
And that's happened multiple times. We work through that through therapy. But I think the world knows a lot of times too, and you can even see it in the comments and stuff where people be like, all right, man, like, come on, you putting 20 on 10.
It feels like a reach.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're doing it for TV or for clout or for views.
And I think people,
for opportunity,
they can see that. People can see through when you, and people, I think, because I live my life out loud and in a way, and I'll never run from anything, but we're dealing in a time, as we all know, that this is a time of transition. This is a season of revealing.
Right.
And there's so many things that are going on. We're like, damn, I didn't know that. Or damn, like, and we watching empires be affected. You know what I mean? Because
I saw you leave like a nice comment for Cassie.
Yeah.
With everything that's been happening with Diddy.
I think it's just man, and as we all sit here, we've been in this game for a long time, and there's a lot of things that we probably don't know the details on, but we all on the outside looking in, and like when you start to hear stuff, you don't know how to feel because like these people or you've seen it, and I'm like, damn, is that what was going on? Or like, and so, and we just like the audience, we sitting back, you know, praying and hoping for the best. But then at the same time, when you know individuals, it's like a family member. When you hear something happen, like, damn, I don't agree with the behavior, but I care for the person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know, when you think about Diddy, like, think about all that Diddy has done for the culture.
Indeed.
Just not him as the person, or because
30 years of timeless music and moments.
Like what do and because we witnessed this, whether it's with R. Kelly to Bill Cosby and stuff, like, what do we, as we watch it, we're watching it in real time, and we don't know how to feel because, one, we don't know the truth. You know what I mean? We don't know what, and
We don't know everything.
We don't know everything. When it's revealed, it'll be revealed. And then when we are presented whatever the actual truth is, it's like, all right, well, how do we feel about what we've signed on for to be a part of that person's movement?
Right.
You know,
but
we was all bad boy for life. We ain't gonna stop. And
you
then
know
it's
what?
like,
It's interesting because look, I talked about Ida, and she just said this on my podcast. She was talking about an experience she had on Wildin' Out with another cast member that you know, did something to her, and it did affect her, but she never said anything about it. And so for women, sometimes it is hard in the moment when you feel like people have more power than you.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because there's been times, and as the boss, you know, and in an environment like Wildin' Out, where it's like you got to live all your vulnerabilities on Front Street, and it's people talking shit. It's people calling you out your name. It's like, that's what the
It gets
show
personal
is.
too, though, sometimes.
But then you're also like, all right, so where is that line? So there's been times, and like, I believe it was Jessie Wu, who actually, she started off as a Wildin' Out girl. And it was a colorism conversation about her being one of the dark-skinned girls and not being exotic enough. And it was never brought, I knew nothing about it. And then she kind of went viral and told her story. And I called her immediately. Like, first of all, why didn't you ever tell me this?
Right.
And then we created a relationship and a bond just from hearing her story. And she eventually became a cast member and now is thriving in so many different ways just as talent. But it took her to have the courage to kind of, and again, because sometimes you don't know what to say. You don't know. Someone can offend you. Someone can do or say something in the workspace, and you don't know.
Right.
You don't want to lose your job. You don't know what. You don't know if this was said in jest or somebody was just kidding. Or so in environments like that, it's a sensitive space.
Right.
So in being someone, I've been the talent and I've also been the boss. You got to just be very careful with, one, how you handle people. I believe if you just good to people, at the end of the day, the universe is going to serve you in the correct manner.
As long as you know I represented myself in the right way, no matter what.
Yeah, but even like with all of these, these new cases and law, like it's a scary time. And it's like, even because, I got another show that we're presenting in January that we'll come back and talk about, but it's really about creating safe space for men. Because we fuck up all the time, and we don't have someone to correct us.
Yeah.
We don't have that process to
I
say.
do that for Mano.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I need you, girl.
yeah, I do.
Mano, I
need
mean,
you,
y'all,
baby.
because you guys are actually a part.
baby.
You guys, the show I'm talking about is council culture. You guys are actually
We
a part
talked
of it.
about that.
And
Yeah.
you guys are
Yeah,
on
we
it.
did those
Yeah,
drops.
you
Yeah,
did the
yeah,
drop,
right.
and it was like really think, because we talk.
Right, we
You're thinking
talked
about
about
toxic
that.
masculinity.
That's right.
You know what I mean, and what it means to be a man, and like Mano just being Mano.
Right.
Like, he don't know that. Fuck is toxic masculinity, and like now it's a term that can be weaponized against somebody
Right.
who's just being their authentic self.
Just
hold
today,
on
Mano was
for-
like, I'm about to fuck. I was like, Mano, that's not the first response.
No, that wasn't what I said. But listen, it's interesting that you said that, because what you just explained is that, right, not even myself, but in general, right, all these cases coming up, sometimes men didn't know how to act in certain situations,
Right.
and only doing certain things that they was taught, only doing certain things that they learned somewhere else in the environment they was from.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? By maybe being extra aggressive,
Yeah.
or whatever.
And
it
it's the
was.
trauma that throughout our lineage that has been presented that way, because we've been looked at as bucks. We've been looked at as property. We've been looked at as we got to express ourselves in a certain way to be treated like a human being. So then now as fathers, we like, all right, we could correct this in this way. To like, this is how you approach a woman. This is how you carry yourself in a manner. Like, so it's a process. And
Right.
if I feel like we're that generation that are somewhat sacrificial, because we getting called to the line. They'd be like,
So
shit.
the next generation doesn't
So the next
make those-
generation doesn't make those
Right.
mistakes. It's crazy. Like, it's certain TV shows and shit that we look back now like,
Even
damn.
songs.
Yeah, like, I can't believe we got away
Right.
with that shit.
Because
like,
it was a different time.
Yeah.
There was certain things you could say on records, right? You listen to DMX, and he was saying like certain things that you can't say now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Certain TV shows, certain movies, you can't even say these things.
and we cracking open these mics every day, and everybody got platforms, and people saying certain shit that, even if it was 20 years ago, it's like, nigga, you are incriminating yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you snitching on yourself right now.
right.
Like, you should have kept that story to yourself.
And I think even
Like,
as women, a lot of times we're hesitant to come forward with things because we also do feel like protective no matter what. You don't want to, people are like, oh, you trying to make a black man go down. And sometimes we feel like we don't want to be responsible for that.
well, as black women, you guys have been our protectors for so long. And it's, you guys have taken the wounds and the stripes to say, all right, I'm gonna stay quiet, but now is your season of, I gotta speak my truth, I gotta let it out. And I hope it is, because I understand that narrative of, oh, why you want to tear a black man down, but if it's like, we need to build the black woman up, we need to, in that sense of like, if this is her truth. And so going back even to what you asked me about originally, when, people that I've dealt with in the past are speaking their truths about, I don't always get it right. You know what I mean? Now,
right.
and if you've spoken about what we've done in the past, I know my character. I stand firm and 10 toes down on anything that I've ever done or said to anybody. But if it hurts you, I apologize. And like, obviously, I done been canceled so many times. I've been on multiple apology tours. So, but my goal is never to hurt anybody. And I'm not even using one of them loose apologies like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Right.
Like, no, I apologize that I hurt you.
Right.
But you hurt me too. You know what I mean? Like, let's deal with that, because we never get to that space where we, like saying, we want to villainize men all the time as these people, as, we're these monsters. Like, nah, if we in a relationship, we in a relationship together. If we're going to talk about, let's talk about everything.
Right.
And then if there is a setting to where it's like, all right, I don't like how you did this. Well, I don't like how you did this. And like, my reaction was exactly that. I was reacting to behavior that you presented towards me. So in that sense, as the protectors and the providers, we need a space to where we can say, well, this is what I was doing, and therefore, if you were affected by that, how do we heal? How do we both heal?
Well, Klondike Blonde, to that point, how do you think you relate to when it comes to dating, just based off of like the
Leave
relationship?
these fuck niggas alone.
I'm like, well, actually, I don't date.
You don't
You gave
date
her
at
that
all.
speech
No.
Okay, because
I've let that go.
you let it go. Now, why do you say that?
I don't know. It's just not my focus right now. I feel like men are a distraction for what I got going on and from what I've experienced in the past. So yeah, I'm just cool off of it.
What did your mom say when she saw this episode? Did she see it? Did you guys talk?
Yeah, so this was a big thing because me and my mom, we actually have a good relationship now. We're really close. I call her every day. But I had to get that truth out, because it's people that can relate with that story, and it's my life. I mean, you're asking about my childhood. You weren't there. So she spoke her piece on it. We're good now. Yeah, I think she just was more so worried about, how she looked and how she's being portrayed. But
I dealt with that with my mom too.
Yeah.
I mean, and like, because similar, our mothers were teenagers when they had us. I don't
Exactly.
judge my parents for anything. And but
Exactly.
even now, my mom got to sit back and watch interviews and things like that. And
Right.
and I'm very careful with how I explain my childhood, because I could portray my childhood one way, and it looked like, damn. Or I could portray it one way. It's like, nah, it was a collective. My mother was a teenager,
Right.
still in high school, working 3 or
Exactly.
4 jobs,
Right.
trying to go. My dad did what he did and went from, he done had his journey from the penitentiary to the pulpit, you know what I mean? And my grandmother, his mother, was the matriarch that kept it all together. So sometimes, and even giving reverence to how much I appreciate my grandmother, my mom would be like, well, nigga, what about me? And rightly so. And so even over the time, like, shoot, me and my mom are like this now, but
Yeah.
there have been times where like I might have said something in an interview that even the interview made it look like one way, where I'm trying to highlight my grandmother and they paint the picture as if my mom wasn't in the picture. He's like, nigga, you know how hard I was working as a teenager with a baby? And so like, you gotta be real careful. And even as the producer of her story, and that's why we interviewed her mom as well, because I wanted to give, and her dad, I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to tell their story.
Yeah.
So does this mean, okay, now let me ask you this about career-wise. When Drip came out and did what it did, were there a lot of labels and people trying to reach out to you to lock you in?
There was a lot of people reaching out, but I want to say I went with L.A. Reid. I was with him for a period of time after Drip and during Drip. So
one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
So you
shout out L.A. Reid. That's still my
with
dog.
L.A. Reid and...
Well, you know,
No,
LA,
I'm no
that's
longer
family
with
right
LA
now.
Reid.
I mean, like she's rocking with us, but even the same thing to where it's still all love. Like, cause even like the Jazzy Faye was involved.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
so
shout out Jazzy.
she been rocking for a minute as a real artist. So I just wanted to help cultivate those relationships. So, but again, she was already popping when I met her. It was just like, all right, now how do we take this and
To the next level
and guide it to
already lit.
Yeah.
Do you know what you want from all of this? Like, what do you want for yourself?
I just want, I really want to make this punk rock rap genre like pop. I'm really glad that my story is being told. Like, that's really important to me. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for real. So I really want to take it all the way to the top.
Okay, what's all the way to the top for you?
I don't know. I just had this conversation. Exactly. I just had this conversation with Chuck. I was like, I feel like I could be Michael Jackson big for real.
I mean, like these kids nowadays, because they are
real.
selling out festivals
That's
and
right.
stadiums, and like it's that type. She makes that type of music where they mosh pitting and going crazy and all of that stuff. So, and she has the look, she has the appeal. So again, we focus on a few
Gotta
artists
dream
and we feel like she could be, one of them next ones. When you see the energy of like a little Uzi or even what like Juice WRLD had, like she has that for like, the female aspect. So it sounds crazy, but I feel like she can be that level of rock star. And her music sound like that.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who
facts.
else is on Future Superstar this season?
This is Hitman Holla. His story is incredible. I'm excited about J.D. McQuarrie is the next one. He was Simba in the Lion King movie with Beyonce. And dude is always, his voice, like, I feel like he's the future of R&B. 15 years old. I mean, he looks up to Chris Brown and all them, like those are his GOATs. But this kid's level of talent is insane. And it's another time where I was like, all right, let me shine my light on the future. Like, I remember when Chris was 15 and meeting him and, up at Jive and like literally like my little brother now is like to see someone with that same type of talent, that same type of energy, already starring in movies, already, singing at a level that's like out of here that you don't get to see anymore. So we get an opportunity to rock with him. And then the next episode that's airing on the same night is DW Flame, who's like a real one from Long Beach, California. I say he's the hottest thing out of Long Beach since Snoop Dogg. But to me, Nipsey was somebody that I was super close with when it came to the ideas of connected with the community. And he's a chief and a general in the hood the same way that Nip was. To where I was like, dog, you can change the mentality of these cats on the block. You're a real one. He thinks CEO stands for cripping every opportunity. But he's living it in a way to where it's like now it's creating every opportunity. And you'll see that in his journey of like, I'm trying to, he has Cinco Boys Entertainment. I'm like, yo, you can be that CEO the way Fifth was for G Unit. You can, all of those ways. I mean, even sitting next to Mano, watching the brand that he's built and putting on for Brooklyn, like when you have real cats that the hood listens to, these are the guys that can get us to put the guns down. These are the guys that can get us to stop killing one another. And you can still be just as gangster, you be just as hard, but they're leaders in the community. So another person like that I'm excited about his story and his journey as well.
Dope.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate it. And thank you for coming up here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And for sharing your story. And the holidays are coming up. All right. What are you guys doing for... Nick, why are you laughing?
Because I'm going to be tired. I got to put on the Santa suit now.
You got to get that slate now.
Now.
You know what? Bust Austin was talking about how he had all his kids together for the first time, right? Have you had all of them in the same room?
I have on occasions like when my grandmother turned 80. You know, that was a special moment. And they're far and few between. And the beauty of it is like I get to do stuff like I'm excited about. It's a charitable event that I'm gonna do at Easter. That I'm renting out this giant museum of like toys, and I'm gonna do an Easter egg hunt, and it's big as like it's a whole city block, so I can have all my baby mamas there. They ain't got to see each other. It's gonna be an Easter egg hunt for real.
This is your wing. This is your wing.
If y'all happen to run into each other, just say hey.
Are any of them friends with each other?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, again, I always let them kind of share the narrative the way that they want to, but I mean, if you pay close attention, you see like everybody's cordial, and it's in that sense to where, it's my family. You know what I mean? I can't explain
now.
12.
11,
I'm at 12.
12.
I'm at 12.
Okay. Mano, relax.
I'm
compete.
They're like
I'm only 2 in.
Got time.
At 30, I didn't have no kids.
See?
Y'all happened so fast.
You went on a
Crazy. Late bloomer.
A shooting spree.
Oh my God.
What are you doing for the holidays?
I think I'm going to kick it with all my little siblings. I normally go see them for the holidays up in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right. Well, good. Well, thank you again. And when can people tune in?
Future Superstars on VH1. We turning up every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. It's Way Up with Angela Yee.